you doing, Mike AM? It's a good day for a podcast. He said, yeah, let's do it. I said, fuck yeah, okay, let's do it. And that's how it happened, and it's happening now.
Our guest today is Alex Whorms, singer, songwriter. What other hats do you wear?
Those are the two main ones, I guess. I'm a pianist, I'm a band leader, and I'm also a music teacher.
Nice. You're killing it on Spotify right now.
Thank you.
New single, Too Many Love Songs, slamming. A bit of a departure from the previous releases. How do you feel about how it's been received?
Well, I'm very happy about it. You're right that it's a departure. I got a lot of comments when it came out. People saying things like, oh, it's so great to hear you so happy for once. Which was funny because the previous single and a lot of the ones on my 2017 EP were a little more moody, a little more on the ballad side of things. And this one, Too Many Love Songs, is very punchy, very upbeat. And I was really happy with it for that reason. It felt good to put something out there that was fun and dancey and, kind of makes you smile a bit more than some of the other ones that, So, yeah, very, very happy with it. The people are playing it. And just, for me, most of the satisfaction is just creating a recording that I'm proud of. So, even before stream stats or whatever, I was just very happy with the recording itself and excited for people to hear it. And that's kind of the excitement for me, really.
Have you had any people coming at you with their interpretations of the lyrics?
I've had a few, not so much. What I have had is a couple people listening to the lyrics and going, oh, wait, never mind. That's not actually as happy as I thought it was. So apparently I'm still a very unhappy person. But so I've had the comments of, oh, wow, this is so much fun to listen to. And then I did have a couple people who read into the words a little more closely and went, oh, wait, you're not, it's not a perfectly happy song. So the subject matter of the song, Too Many Love Songs, is it's kind of about becoming aware of the influence that media and pop culture kind of have on our behavior a lot of the times, and looking at things like binge drinking at parties or people's need to post their whole lives on social media and portray themselves a certain way and act a certain way and look a certain way. The song is about noticing that influence on one's own life, I guess, and thinking about that and not, being a little bit unsure about whether your actions are your own, if you're really acting a certain way because of your own personality, or if it's all just trying to keep up with trends and stuff. So that's kind of what the song lyrically is about, if that makes sense.
The chorus seems like a resolution to break free from that, though, right?
I think so.
So in a way, it does seem happy. You've become aware of what has been bringing you down.
Yes, yeah. And, for me personally, I definitely feel that that is kind of the result of these reflections of the thoughts that are in that song. I think the song itself is more of a realization, but hopefully that is the result, yes.
Nice. And who produced that?
Mark Lalama.
Okay.
So the recording was kind of interesting. So what happened was we did the instrument recording at Grant Avenue Studio here, and that was recorded by Amy King here in Hamilton. And Amy produced my entire first EP back in 2017, the Our Lives EP. And this time around, I had some extra funding, and I had a little bit of a different idea for what my next batch of songs would sound like. And eventually, so I was looking for a different mixing engineer. At Grant Avenue Studio, all the gear there is very analog. They just don't have the system to do a lot of, more software-based editing. And so I wanted to experiment with some different sounds and some different techniques. So Amy referred me to Mark, whose studio is the old Sumbler House. It's out in Fenwick, Ontario. And I did the rest of the work on the songs there with him, and that was where we did the vocal production and the mixing, and we completed the songs up there.
And Andrew Aldridge played some guitar?
Yes.
On that?
He did, yeah, which I was extremely excited about because Andrew plays with my favorite singer in the world all the time, and that is Sarah Celine. So when Amy connected me with him to discuss putting guitar tracks on my new songs, I just about lost it. And then he said he would, and I lost it again. Like it was incredible. And I hope he's listening, hearing me now. He was the last. He wasn't the last instrument to go on. We did an overdub day with him after we had recorded bass, drums, rhythm guitar, piano. And he had his own separate session where he just overdubbed guitar on what we had already recorded. And, the songs just came to life. Like it was really impressive. And Amy and I were sitting in the control room and my jaw just kept dropping onto the floor. Because a player like Andrew Aldridge, he just gets the music and he just does his thing, and he put on some really, really cool parts. And the other great thing about it too is that I had some guitar parts kind of in mind as well. So after we had kind of let him just creatively improvise on top of these songs, I said, okay, can you try, I would play him a line on the piano and then he would play that, and we got a lot of good, I think one of the hardest parts of mixing was to decide which guitar tracks to use and which not to use because they were all so good. But yes, Andrew Aldridge was amazing.
Did you have to get a lot of second opinions when you're deciding between the thing that you came up with and the thing that he improvised? And, yeah. You're like, I don't know if my biases are...
not really. We just... I'm trying to remember what we did. I think, everything was good, but it was not difficult to kind of decide what fit best and, what I liked best. And we did end up, I'm trying to think. The one part that I was referring to that was, kind of was my invention was actually the guitar solo at the end of Sunset, which we released in March, different earlier single, and it just seemed to fit. It was already part of the song, and I think there are actually 3 or 4 tracks of him going at the same time there, but one is clearly the lead part, so everything else kind of complemented what I had imagined.
And are Sunset and Too Many Love Songs, they're from the same sessions?
Yeah, they are. So
is there more?
There is more.
Oh.
There's more. So spoiler alert, in the fall I'm putting out a second DP. And so those, the 2 singles, Sunset and Too Many Love Songs, are the prelude to that. So that will be out in September.
Nice. Oh, wow. You heard it here, folks. What do you do after a bombshell like that?
After an EP?
An announcement.
Or an announcement like that.
An EP, yeah, exactly. You check your list, which you didn't write last night.
That's that internal conversation thing you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I talk to myself on here a lot. It's okay. Pet the cat. Carry on. Oh, you're making the notes on the computer.
Yeah.
Nice. I was like, oh no, where's the paper? Where's the paper? See, this is the point where this is what Eric does.
What is he making notes on?
So whenever I derail a conversation completely like this and create like 2 to 4 minutes of bad radio, like what you're listening to right now, he'll make a note of it so that I can go directly to those parts
And
in the
cut them
editing.
out.
Yeah. Or sometimes if I'm like, oh, you know what? Someone out there might get a kick out of this. Like if I get a laugh out of it, then I feel like someone else might as well. And sometimes I'll leave it in. There's some silly stuff on some of the... Did you listen to any of the previous episodes?
No, I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah?
Sorry, I haven't.
This is how Eric Andre gets so many guests.
Yeah.
Do you know who Eric Andre is?
No.
No, he's like I guess like a comedian. He has like a talk show, but he just creates these nightmare situations for his guests. And he just counts on them not looking at previous episodes of the show.
Oh, and then he just totally freaks them out.
Yeah, there was like a season where he didn't shower
Oh my god.
for like a whole year. And then
Didn't he put like snakes in the chair one time?
probably.
Like under the cushion, there's like snakes
Yeah.
sitting on. And
Yeah.
No, and like
Yeah, she got mad. She was like from the hills or something like that.
I would be mad too.
yeah.
Like, oh my god.
My favorite Eric Andre bit, I think, and there's a lot to choose from, is when he has James Vanderbeek on the show, and he gets a double of himself and his co-host and James Vanderbeek, and then the person is like dressed exactly like each of them, and just waiting for them to say something and saying the same thing with like a 0.5 second delay. And so is James Vanderbeek's double, so he'll start answering a question, but then the guy starts chiming in with what he just said. And he's like, this is like a fever dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really creative though.
It is, yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh man. That would be a huge surprise.
Yeah. So, and I always wondered, like, come on, is this, like, do people really not check out the show? But most people don't. I think we had Olivia Brown in here. Do you know her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She was at the Hamilton Arts Awards.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Vinny was nominated for that, wasn't he? Eric?
I missed that part.
Wasn't Vinny nominated for a Hamilton Arts Award? Some sort of...
Like a band he was in, or?
I don't know. Maybe just as like a guitarist?
It might have been.
Yeah.
It might have been because of his connection to like Nathan Fleet, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, maybe in the film category?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
They nominate individuals rather than bands at these awards.
Right.
So, it was a really cool night.
Did you win one of those?
I did. Yeah, I was there, and I already mentioned Amy King, who I've been working with since I started making music. But her and I were nominated together for in the music category. So she was nominated as an established artist, and I was the emerging. And then we both won, which was really incredible. I mean, I'm not surprised Amy won, but for me, it was kind of like, holy shit, right? It was amazing. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to give a speech?
Yeah, I just did a short one. It was really crazy because, obviously I've been doing a lot of shows and concerts, and I don't really get nervous at those anymore, but something about that was like I was shaking. It was really amazing and nerve-wracking, and I said a couple of sentences and a couple of thank yous, but we're on this podium and there were hundreds of people out there, and I just I don't even remember what I said, but yeah, I said a few things, and then we got whisked off stage to take pictures, and it was just really cool. Like, I think what shocked me so much about it was that, doing this, being a musician and performing and recording and releasing music and trying to get people to listen. You know, it's a pretty tough situation to be in these days. It's a really crowded industry. It's a really difficult one, and you get really used to having a really tough time most of the time, and sometimes people are not very nice, and it's just a tough go. And then to have a bit of recognition at an event like that, where everyone was all dressed up and there's a huge stage and plaques and awards, like it just it wasn't normal. Like, it was a big a really, really big deal, and a really encouraging thing. So I'm really grateful that that events like that in Hamilton exist, because I think the artist community in general really needs that kind of support, even if it's like just like a smaller. Oh man, I'm rambling now. But yeah, no, like I've already said it, like support like that, a little pat on the back, some recognition is really, really helpful when you're trying to do this. So that was amazing for me.
I think I said this to you before, but your first EP reminded me of like Studio Ghibli films, and you're grimacing. That doesn't mean anything to you.
No.
It's like anime music, but not like Dragon Ball Z, like the kind of Japanese animation, like their version of Disney. Like, have you ever seen like My Neighbor Totoro?
I haven't, but are you kind of referring to the strings, and or maybe I really
yeah,
don't
it's
know
just
what
got this kind of like happy classical vibe, but also there's some obvious depth to it. Like, those movies are like, yes, this is about an 8-foot tall fluffy little bunny raccoon hybrid, but you will cry when the girl disappears in the forest, and that's like the vibe I got from your first EP.
That's the most interesting reaction to my music that I've ever heard. I like it. Thank you. I guess I should be contacting the people who make those movies.
Definitely. I would be so stoked for you if you got into a Ghibli film, even though it would mean nothing to you.
I mean, it could.
Yeah, I mean, this could be like, you could check it out after, when you get home, and be like, oh my god, this is my new favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
Have you ever seen that before?
No.
That thing? No.
No.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should check it out. Yeah. I love that, because there's definitely a lot of classical influence on everything that I write. Classical piano was my first love, I guess. I went and I did my ARCT in piano, and string scores are one of my favorite things to write as well. So whenever it makes sense to put strings on a song, there's going to be like a lot of strings. And one dream I have for further on in my career is to start playing with full string quartets.
Nice.
Yeah, or gosh, maybe one day a whole orchestra. I don't know. But yeah, I love that stuff. A lot of my family are string players, so I just grew up around that, and I hear strings on a lot of my songs. So those are always really fun days in the studio when I get to bring in string players and take out my baton and feel. I love that. It's like being in dreamland for me when I get to pretend I can conduct.
Have you gotten to do some conducting in your life?
Yeah, just a little. I know just very basic conducting for strings and for choral music. When I was at McMaster, I did take some conducting classes there, and I think overall, definitely my favorite course in university was the conducting courses.
Really?
Yeah, because you're just like, you're not just playing one instrument at that point. You're playing like a large group of people, and they just, you move your hand and they do what you want. It's really cool. I just, I think it's awesome. Absolutely love conducting. I don't get to do it very often.
So maybe describe a bit of it. I'm imagining that a lot of our listeners are probably, I would imagine that a lot of like rock musicians like listen to this. For the most part, you'll get your own people tuning into your episodes specifically, but to those who see Bugs Bunny conducting the orchestra, and to those who have seen it happen and be like, what's this guy even doing?
Yeah.
What is that guy even doing?
What is the conductor even?
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny isn't really doing much. He's just
Bugs Bunny. Well, he's running amok of the whole thing, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I think, well, for me, like, you know, I never really had to do very much, because in what we did in the studio, for my strings was they were recorded as overdubs. So for me, and, you know, each string player has on a headset and they're listening to the track and they can hear the click, and they can see their music. But, often it was just a matter of cueing people. I like to do a lot of staggered entries, and sometimes that was really my job as a conductor. But in general, conductors just you know, they're kind of, they indicate to musicians, you know, not only entries and exits from the musical score, but they you know, they unify a group of musicians so that the music is, so everyone is just kind of synchronized, you know, dynamically and rhythmically and in all ways, so that a group of musicians performs, you know, as one being rather than...
It is the agreed upon time source that
everyone
looks to,
follows. Yep.
and dynamics and such. Wow, that is just gone. The thing that I was going to say.
Well, and I think too, you know, and this is, if you think of classical conducting, maybe I don't do a whole bunch of that. You know, I don't really need to. It's interesting performing as a band leader as well. You know, you conduct, but in different ways. So I have both hands on the keyboard, but there's a lot of like conducting with my head when I'm playing with my band,
and
almost
your body,
you know,
generally.
and exactly. So like everyone's, you know, when we play in the band, everyone's watching each other, and mostly watching me for cues and stuff. And I think a lot of times, you know, at the endings or beginnings of songs, like I'm literally just, I'm shaking my head right now. You won't be able to see because there's no video here, but lots of that still happens. So I think, I don't know. Yeah, it happens, even though I'm not using a baton. I'm not playing with an orchestra yet, but I'm still a conductor of sorts, I guess.
Do you have parts in your live set that are just wavy gravy in terms of length, and you cue the ends and beginnings of those parts?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. That's
very cool.
That's really fun. It makes the set kind of seamless and interesting, and we do it with different instruments, and often, you know, it's a cool way to kind of support, you know, my banter and stuff.
The thing came back to me. I overheard some string musicians talking about their conductor, and they were agreeing upon which point of his body was the downbeat. To the music.
No.
They're like, when the baton gets to his bottom button on his shirt, that's what we're all going to watch for being.
Oh no.
Like,
well, that's not good, because so that's what you would call the ictus point, right? And where the downbeat hits.
wow, that has a name.
Yeah.
Ictus point.
The ictus point.
And
that is like where the baton hits its lowest
that's the
point.
imaginary point where it's supposed to hit the beat. And like the number one rule of conducting is that has to be very clear.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be debatable at all. That's not good.
That's the best. The band shouldn't be debating which of your shirt buttons is the ictus point.
Also, like the lowest shirt button seems like a very low ictus point to me. So
I might have made. I know it was one of the buttons.
oh boy, those poor musicians.
I mean, he was probably wearing a suit, right?
Right.
And you never bottomed the bottom you never buttoned the bottom button. So the bottom, I'd be like right there. How's that for an ictus point?
Oh, that's not so bad.
That's not so bad?
That's not so bad.
I'm pointing.
Like
I'm
if
pointing
it was
to like
closer to the waistline, that would be kind of bad because you can't. No, like it's got to be about here.
That's bad ictus point.
The ictus point sounds like a prog metal band or something.
I was just gonna say that. No.
You just named Zero Fire's next album.
Yeah.
So you said that was at McMaster. You got to do some
Conducting.
conducting.
Yeah.
Nice. And what did you take at McMaster?
So I took my degree was actually technically in science. So I moved to Hamilton to go to McMaster. Actually, I grew up east of Toronto in Ajax, actually, and
41.
yeah, exactly.
Did you know them?
I think I didn't even know they were from Ajax until I moved to Hamilton, and people were like, "Oh, Sum 41 is from there," and I was like, "Really?" Because I don't have there are a lot of nice people in Ajax, but there isn't really a whole lot of a music scene there, and I, of course, as I already mentioned, I was a classical piano kid. I did classical singing. I got into musical theater in the Oshawa area when I was 12, I think. And I did every musical activity I could manage to get myself into. But despite all of that, I was never really able to connect the dots. How do you get from being a high school student into being a musician? I couldn't really see how to make a career out of it because I had nobody to look up to there. My family are all musicians, but they're all hobby musicians. So the path that was laid out for me and the example that was set for me by dozens of people was music is a hobby, and science, medical field type stuff is what we do for work, and that's just how it should be done. So I went to McMaster. I accepted an offer into the integrated science program there, and I did a couple years of that. However, fortunately for me, I noticed Hamilton's music scene, and I met a lot of people just while I was playing open mics and stuff, who eventually said, you're writing good music. Have you ever thought about recording it? Have you ever thought about putting out, a CD or something? And I was introduced to Amy by somebody I met on Tinder, actually. So I also have to partly thank the Tinder app for getting me into music. And then away we went, and we made a CD. Amy actually, her encouraging me to record my music made a huge difference because of who she is and her reputation. And I thought, well, if Amy thinks I should do this, then I guess I'm going to do it. I guess I can do it was more the attitude. I guess I'm good enough to do this. And so I was in school. I put out the Our Lives EP in 2017. You thought it sounded like anime music. Maybe some other people thought that too. I got a lot of opportunities to tour and perform from that. And then I formed a band made of McMaster musicians mostly, and we did the McMaster Battle of the Bands. And then at that point I said, I did graduate with a science degree, but I crammed as many musical electives into it as I could, and I eventually switched out of, I did change my major into life sciences, because that allowed me to do more music electives and also to do some research in the music cognition department you mentioned earlier at the Live Lab. And then I finished, and I'm done with science forever. Not that I hated it, but I wanted to do this more, and I'm lucky that I ended up kind of coincidentally finding the information and the people I needed to make it happen, because I am, I'm just thrilled to be doing this now.
So which open mics were you hitting when you first started out playing in Hamilton?
Yeah, mostly the one at the Phoenix, just on the McMaster campus.
Oh.
That Chris Claus runs.
Right.
It was easy to get to. And I had a little 60-key battery-powered keyboard that I would just stick in a suitcase and wheel down there, because they didn't have a house keyboard or anything. And as I was telling you earlier, my giant 88 key Roland was a little too heavy for me to move around easily. But yeah, no, I just went there. I also did a lot of little open mics at Bridges Cafe in the basement that a lot of the different campus clubs put on. Yeah, and just like I would play once in a while. They would have musicians in the student center. I remember one day I walked through the student center and I didn't realize one was happening, and my friend was Dana, you might know from Dana and the Monsters. Maybe not. She's in Thunder Bay now. She was also a great influence on me, actually, because she was recording and performing music a lot. She was a couple years older than me. But yeah, I walked into the student center one day, and I had just gotten off the bus back from Ajax, and there was Dana and her guitar, playing music in the student center. And I went up and I said hi, and she said, "Hey, I've got a keyboard over here. Like, do you want to play? Like, I have space for you to play in 10 minutes if you want." And I said, "Sure." So I grabbed that bus ticket out of my pocket. This was before I had a Presto card. I just, went to the cafeteria for a few minutes. I wrote down a couple songs on it, and then I, played a set there. And I would do things like that on campus, at any available opportunity. And, I remember, one time a student who I didn't know came up to me and said, like, "Who are you? Like, why don't you have a sign? Like, I need to know who you are. We need to know who you are so we can follow your music. Like, what are you doing? Where's your CD? Where's your this?" And it was very, I didn't know how to respond.
It's intense.
It was like, you're doing all these things wrong, But, anyways, yeah. So I definitely entertained the idea. I just, until my friend who, I met on Tinder actually set me up at a studio, I just I couldn't connect the dots until someone, actually, it told me, go to the studio now, like, go do this, which I'm very thankful for.
That's super cool. Mm-hmm. And so did you put together the band for the Battle of the Bands?
Actually, yeah,
wow.
I did. So I did things a little backwards. So most people would form a band first and then make a CD, right? For me, making the EP was my first step. So I hired, I had been playing a little bit in a different band, classic rock band, actually, that was started by a friend of mine. I just really wanted to be in a band at the time. So I was playing in a cover band, and while this EP, while the EP plans were kind of coming together, and so I was meeting with Amy at the studio, and we were kind of discussing what kind of instrumentation would fit for each song. And we decided on, a full rhythm section and some strings and, some percussion and whatnot. And so I knew a guitarist that I really liked from this cover band I was playing in. That's Mike Panza-Beltrandi, and he still plays in my band today. So he played on the EP. But I didn't have a band. The other guys were all session people or people I just met in my search for musicians. So Ailish Corbett, who plays viola, violin, and does all sorts of little percussion and backup vocals things, she still plays with me. I met her because she answered my call for string players on the first EP. So I had those two. Mike and Ailish were the first two members of my band. And then the EP came out in spring of 2017. And then the following year, that school year after that, I saw the application for Battle of the Bands, and I thought, man, I really want to do that. And that was January 2018 or something. And up until that point, whenever I had, I didn't have a permanent bassist or a permanent drummer, rather. We just had different people kind of coming in as we needed them. And at that point, I actually, my drummer, Nigel Stewart, who I know you know, was working at a cafe that I was performing in at Mulberry on James Street. And
he sold me my coffee grinder there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Man of many talents. He, so we're just packing up after playing at the cafe, and he said, "Oh, if you ever need a drummer, I'm a drummer," he says. And I said, "Sure, okay." So we connected on Facebook, and then I looked at his YouTube and stuff and said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can play with this guy." And so he joined us for Battle of the Bands, and we still didn't need a bassist, or we did need a bassist rather. So Konrad Svirchek plays bass with us, and I connected with him just from some friends' recommendations, and now we've been playing together. That group has been the band for a year and a half now, and I forget your question. You asked about forming the band for Battle of the Bands. So yes, Battle of the Bands was what finally kind of slapped me in the face and said, "Get yourself a proper band, girl," and then we did that. I think that was the first show that we really, really pushed to make it the best show. We did a couple. I think we did 2 or 3 gigs prior to that to warm up, and
really?
that was great. It was a milestone at the time, and we didn't win, but it was really fun.
Yeah, it's good to have something like that to give you a reason to do something you already want to do, right?
Yeah, because I think it's a lot of work, and you know this from playing in bands, right? To organize, 5 people who are all very busy, and to really, there are so many angles to look at your live show. There's the arrangement of the music, obviously, but you also think about, we have to look like we're having fun up here. Like, we need to be,
ideally, you're genuinely having fun. Yeah.
We need to make sure that comes across. We need to acknowledge that there are people in front of us watching. And for me, I think around that time, I kind of was watching performance videos of myself. And I think when this band came together, that was the first, it sounds like nothing, but when I formed this band and everyone else was standing, I went, I can't sit and play anymore. I need to stand. And so that was an adjustment for me, actually, just being able to stand and play because I'm so classically trained. Now I have so much fun with it because I've figured out how to dance while I play a little bit, and I think everyone has more fun now, and we just we have a good time. But
in classical music, the pianist is almost never the singer, right?
Almost never.
Yeah.
So, anyways, little things like that, and just figuring out how to speak to people who are attending shows, and so it's really good. And there have been a couple other bigger milestone shows that we've had since then. So I think after that, our next big one where we really pushed was Festival of Friends last summer in Hamilton. So we got that, and I said, guys, this is serious. I said, we've got to be better in this, and this area. And we're also going to have a giant freaking stage. So we've got to adjust to that. And,
right.
And then just this past May, we did it. We had another, kind of milestone thing which was Canadian Music Week. at the 3030 in Toronto. So every time, you know, not to say that we don't work hard for every single show, we do, like we're prepared and everything, but once in a while when there's something, I'm really grateful for when a bigger opportunity, something that's a little bit intimidating comes around, because it really kind of...
It's a boss battle.
It is.
You know, you get your regular experience points with your gigs at your current level, and then it's like, whoop, next level, boss battle, and now we've all leveled up, and now we're here.
Exactly, and then you bring that new boss level to, you know, even the little shows again, right? And it's just another rung on the ladder. And I guess the mentality for me is, because, you know, this is such early stages, the idea is like, well, everyone else there is going to have done this before, so we need to stack up. And it's a great way to get better at things, is be under pressure like that. So I don't know what the next one will be, but stay tuned.
Right. You ever play any of those fugues?
Oh yeah.
Hard.
For my RCM
I don't
stuff.
like it.
I love it.
I mean, I like to listen to it. I don't know.
Well, funny thing happened. So I just recently finished the artist entrepreneur program at Canada's Music Incubator.
Oh, you're done that now?
Toronto. It's all done.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. One of the people, and this is like a 360-degree masterclass for recording artists or young emerging artists, and they bring in all sorts of professionals to talk to you about different facets of the music industry and help us improve our businesses. And one person they brought in to speak to us was a psychologist, and he played us 2 song segments and asked us to vote on, you know, whether we liked it, and we also had to guess who was the writer of each of these little segments. So one of them was very clearly AC/DC, and people were like, "Oh my God, like this makes me feel so amped, and like I love this." And I just found I had the unpopular opinion, and I was like, I didn't like that at all. Like, you know, I found I just.
But he just like played you AC/DC, or was it?
It was like a little segment of. I think the point he was trying to make was like people have like. He was talking about like the importance of rituals or something, and he was talking about chess players listening to music before chess games or whatever to get themselves in the zone. And I think he was going to allude to doing similar things for performance. But anyways, so one was like a little instrumental song intro that was clearly AC/DC. And I feel like I was probably the one person or the whole group who didn't feel like really great after listening to it. Like, I don't hate AC/DC, but like it doesn't really do much for me personally. And then he played a segment that was very rapid classical music, obviously Bach. And, you know, and I was the only person who could name this composer, right? And I thought it was beautiful. I really like literally, yeah. And everyone else kind of answered, "Man, no, I just felt stressed out listening to that. I didn't like that at all." And I felt like, oh, what's wrong with me? But I love Bach. And I think it just goes back to, like, for me, I spent, the first 5 years at least of my musical training from when I was younger doing exclusively classical piano. And I just, when I hear Bach preludes and that book, you have the Well-Tempered Clavier up there, I just think of how it feels to play those pieces and how, you know, everything is very, it's structured. It's technically has to be very accurate. And I just feel like...
It's beyond accurate. It's perfect.
You know, exactly.
It's like the literal rule book for
perfect
matching notes to chords.
Yeah. And there's something so satisfying about playing those pieces. You know, I just start feeling like, you know, the muscles in my fingers I can just kind of imagine how, how the notes feel. And like, anyways, maybe this explanation won't make sense to anyone who isn't a classical pianist, but I love them. Like, I just think they're amazing, and they're definitely not easy pieces to learn to play. But once you kind of get them and everything just fits like a puzzle together, and they're genius pieces of music. It just, I think they're great. I love them.
See, I'm not at that point of piano playing where, it feels right to be doing a lot of those things, but I do know what you're saying, because with like the guitar, or I played a lot of the cello suites on the bass.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so like when you're playing with perfect technique, everything, even though it's very challenging, it's like you're almost surprised at how doable it is.
Yeah.
Because the writing is so perfect within, these, and that's obviously how the instrument was built to be played, right? The people who designed the instruments made it in mind to be able to play chords and arpeggios and stuff, and that's exactly what Bach is taking from.
That's really interesting. So do you think because Bach wrote for so many different instruments, so was he just really familiar with all of those instruments himself when he composed, or is it just the way the instrument is made that makes all these really complicated things fit so well under the fingers? What do you think? Or is it both?
I would imagine it's more of the second. Yeah. It's just that the instruments were designed to be able to play by the rules as comfortably as possible. And because Bach not only played by the rules, but set them in stone.
Right.
It's natural that it feels that way to do this stuff.
So cool to think about, because when I am scoring for strings, I myself am not a string player, but we do have I do have a violin and a viola, and I understand kind of the basics of how they work, because a lot of my
you want to know what's
play.
Impossible.
So, exactly. So I'm and I've studied theory, and I'm obeying all the rules, like you said. And once in a while, I go, wow, I really want that note, but I don't know if it's actually manageable. And I'm playing on this violin, and I'm not a violinist. And I'm like, so they'd have to go up to here. And, I do consult actual players and ask them, hey, do you think that this is an achievable thing to put in my score? And they'll go, yes or no, or it depends on who's playing it, basically. That's interesting. I, as much as I love playing Bach music and classical piano music, I've never actually composed a true classical piano work myself. And I don't know if I ever will, or if I could, or how, really. Like, I've studied all the harmony and stuff, but for me,
you didn't have any of that as like an assignment at McMaster or anything?
Well, no, actually, I never took a composition course. And I was, even though I spent so much of my time playing classical music, I never actually started creating my own music until I started performing in musical theater when I was younger. And then I saw, kind of emotions and words with music that also moved me. Like, it wasn't just factory pop on the radio. I was never really into, popular music or vocal music at all, until I got into theater, and also until I heard Sarah Slean by accident one day, and I went, whoa, like, this is different. This is actually pretty cool.
I wish I was more familiar with her music.
It's amazing. She uses a lot of, she's also a classically trained pianist, lots of strings and lots of piano, and it's very quirky. And the poetry of her lyrics is what really got me, I think, at first, when I first started listening to her. And then, I found out that she actually grew up in Pickering, which is just one town away from where I grew up. So pretty cool. But I definitely recommend her music. And I don't know. I'm not sure if I'll ever compose. And she has actually composed classical works as well, where she isn't singing, where they're just, string quartets or classical piano pieces as well. I have not done that. I just, I felt that when it came to things that inspired, representing events or situations or ideas that inspired me, that they always came out more like a pop song.
I want to come back to that in a minute. I just wanted to. I heard a recording of. Are you familiar with the Musical Offering? Bach's 6-part suite or 6-part fugue?
I don't think I am, actually.
Let me see if I can find the exact. There it is. I don't want to play any of it, but I want to tell people to listen to it. Karl Munchinger conducts the Stuttgart Kammer Orchestra. So this is a 6-part. I believe it was written for the organ. Oh. So it's a 6-voice fugue. And for those listening that don't know, a fugue is a classical composition that starts with a theme, and then after that theme is introduced, the voice, as they call it, that will be maybe one finger on the piano in this case, will continue to play within a chord progression while another voice comes in and starts playing that same theme. So the voice that brought in the theme is now supporting the new voice. And every time a voice comes in, it's playing the theme. And on the organ, it does sound like a bit of a mess, but at the tempo that they slow it down at and played by an orchestra with a few strings playing each voice, you get to hear each one come in, and it is mind-blowing. You're hearing these separate, but like you have the choice of listening to it all as one chord or trying to pull the themes out and each melody, and that's strongly recommend it. Go back. I'm not going to try to say that again. Rewind if you need to. Looks like that. So.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
You want to ask me anything?
Sure. Oh, sorry.
Good host. Man.
I'm just reaching for...
This is your show now.
Now you're the host.
I was thinking it would be cool to have a show, but...
Try it out. Try it out for 3 minutes.
Sure.
See, this is cool. It's like fostering a cat.
Yeah.
You can foster the Michael AM radio show for a minute.
Alrighty.
Ask Eric a question.
Should I ask Eric a question?
Ask Eric a question. He can have the microphone for no longer than 2 minutes.
Yeah, all right.
Yo, I've been promoting you in like my text messages to people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Eric, you got any big shows coming up?
We are playing July 6th at the Corktown, what's it called? Pub? Yeah.
Corktown
Pub,
With
yeah.
Holy Mantis, which the keyboard player in my other band is in that. With Woolly Mantis, the keyboard player in my other band is in that.
Yeah, and what's another band? Plan Dilemma, I think, are playing that.
Nice.
I think so. They're pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much the show that we have coming up. And then nothing big that I can think of. Hot Fix is kind of dead right now. It's my other band. Not dead, but we're kind of like our bass player is living in BC right now, so it's like you can't really you can't really meet up for jams in like we all like meet in the middle, like Saskatchewan or something, and we'll all jam there. And then other than that, I do like stand up open mics, so I've just been doing that.
Like comedy?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me a joke.
No. Hey,
He's good.
I did it.
You gotta laugh. There you go. Yeah, Hot Fix is good. You can listen to their one single that they have out now, and then if you follow them on the socials, you will hear their album that they recorded eventually. If you like funky rock, see they do like cover gigs, so they can do dancey stuff, but then like their original stuff is like better than those covers that they do, but it's like the same vibe, so it works, so it's like, because I've been in rock bands before where you do the cover gigs so that you can afford to keep being in a rock band, but then you can't really justify putting your originals into the set, and then that's just, it gets weird, whereas you guys got it good because you don't have to kill the vibe to promote your stuff.
The good stuff, the good thing about Hot Fix was kind of like we were doing like a good middle ground of like doing the covers to like pretty much like 95% of the way to like what the song actually sounds like, but we were really good at like adding those little things that like made it like just that much like our cover of it.
Yeah, so it sounds like you guys, so it's like when you do Doobie Brothers sounding like Hot Fix, then you do Hot Fix sounding like Hot Fix, and then it's like, hey, they sound like the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So was it called the Canada's Music Incubator, or the?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
That's okay, and that's at Coalition, but Coalition is like the record label / management side of things.
Yeah. So they're
Toronto, right?
yes. So they're two different companies, but they share the same building. So Canada's Music Incubator is a not-for-profit organization that was founded by the guy who actually founded Coalition first. And I think they're 7 years old now, something like that. They're just a staff of 5 at Canada's Music Incubator, and they exist to support independent artists and help them to be better business people. And they've been an amazing support system for me since I connected with them. And doing their 8-week program this year was really, really helpful. Just the way I thought about all the stuff that musicians don't want to do, all the marketing, all the social media, the internet, like the planning and the strategies, budgeting and all that garbage.
It seems like you've found really healthy, or just a really good balance with it, where you're kind of constantly promoting your stuff. Like, I'm very aware of when your shows are happening and when your releases come out. I think they've done a good job of like training you how to make it as reachable as, because sometimes people will release something and it'll be just on like a singular platform that is just like not nice to use. Like, I love SoundCloud, for instance, but it also sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I love the idea of this platform that, it doesn't cost anything for anyone to use or have, but also it just like doesn't play half the time,
Yeah,
and
the app is a little finicky, isn't it?
Yeah.
SoundCloud is the only platform my music is not on, and I'll tell you why. I tried, but I can't put up my own music on SoundCloud because it goes, oh, this music is copyrighted. And I'm like, yes, but it's copyrighted under my name. Like, this is my, So I just, and I put in, whatever that claim that, I filled out the form where you can, argue with them and try to explain that it's a mistake, and, it never actually got resolved. So I just decided I'm not going to be on SoundCloud, and that's that. There's so many other places people can find it, right? Like, I think YouTube is more popular even, and Bandcamp is pretty easy to figure out. And then most people are Spotify and Apple Music subscribers these days anyway. So I figured...
We're on there.
Yeah.
I wish Bandcamp was bigger and more relevant than it is, because it's such a good platform. But
I agree.
I find it really unfriendly for
mobile
listening. No, it's good for like it doesn't. They haven't sorted out how to keep it playing when your phone isn't like active.
Yeah.
Like when it times out and the screen goes black, it seems to stop playing.
Yeah.
And then it always like it doesn't play the next song right away.
Can you make
Almost
like
ever.
playlists on Bandcamp for yourself, or
I don't think so.
like and there is a separate app, mobile app, or
But it is one thing it's really good for is it does play on every system.
Yeah.
At least, even though you kind of have to be babysitting it to listen to a whole album.
Exactly. I would love for Bandcamp to make a streaming app.
Yeah.
Like, and if they, assuming that they would, because what I love about Bandcamp is it's, you can, there, like, all my music right now up there is name your price. So there are people who have paid, $20 for a song, like really generous supporters, right? Or people can download it for free if they want to, or for $1. Like I like that. Like it, and Bandcamp listeners tend to be generous. I find like they'll pay for the digital download, which is really nice. And I like how you can also just integrate your merch onto Bandcamp and make it all pretty and stuff. And it's just it's really convenient on my website homepage, actually. Like my merch page and my music pages just redirect people to Bandcamp, and I really like it. So because they seem to be pretty, and they take like a really tiny percentage off of everything.
Yeah.
And it seems fair to me, which I can't say for many of the other services. And
it's more like 1-to-1.
Exactly.
Between the artist and the distributor. Yeah.
I kind of want them to win.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
But I
'Cause-
feel like if they were to develop, an app similar to Spot, like for Bandcamp,
Where you can listen to
really.
everything on Bandcamp for free, and then
I don't know
or
about.
even-
Well, I don't know. Like you'd have like it's hard because like I really I think most of us musicians kind of really disagree with the streaming for free model. Well, I mean,
I'd rather
I don't
stream
know.
for free than stream for pennies while someone else gets a bunch of money.
Yeah. Okay.
I think most musicians are fine with playing free gigs. It's just when you see someone else, it's just like a saxophone player. He was doing I saw him do a master class, and someone asked him about playing free gigs or like charity things.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, always ask how much the shrimp costs.
Yeah. That's a good answer. And I find that, and that's a whole other issue too, right? The musicians being compensated and, working and stuff. I recently, thought I was going to do a charity gig. Charities who actually, they do have money, right? They need money to operate. And, I didn't realize that they were expecting me to play for free until, a couple emails in. And they're like, oh, by the way, like we don't have a music budget. And I just kind of had to explain, like, and I try to do it as politely as possible because, a lot of people, get very angry and they act, they rudely refuse unpaid work. And, and I understand that frustration because I feel it too, when I get asked to do that. But I just try my best to just explain, well, out of curiosity, are you paying money to rent the venue? Are you paying your catering company? And, these are my costs when I come to do a show. And, there's gas, there's rehearsal time, there's time I'm doing scanning music, there's equipment costs. And I just, so I'm going to have to pass on this. And I just try to politely as possible, make it clear that, why this has value, what goes into it. And I hope that eventually, there will be less, free, performances, because I mean, like it's a different thing if you are a high school kid and you're trying to practice, and get better. But, I find that really frustrating. Like I feel like I've done my share of those now. So if you're asking someone of a certain caliber who's done a certain amount of work in their career, to put together a set, and you're not compensating for them for it in some way, I just think, I think people need to really understand the value of, what they're getting from a live show. Like, yeah. So I try my best to, indicate that once in a while if I get the opportunity to. And hopefully, if people kind of take that approach, I'm hoping people will start to value it more. Mm-hmm.
Is there any advice you'd give to your 2016 open mic self? Other than stand up while you play?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you came upon that on your own, actually, because I had to have people yell at me for that.
To stand up while you play?
I mean, obviously never like with the rock band, but
yeah.
For the acoustic stuff. I'm not acoustic. I guess I always tend to call it acoustic stuff, but my original music does tend to get quite heavy at times as well.
It's all about like doing what suits the music, right? Like if you were playing something really soft and you were sitting, like I would say, yeah, that makes sense, right?
It could even be like a change of energy. Like if you were to go to an acoustic piano mid-set,
and which I've done once in a while, and like that if a venue has a grand piano, that's awesome, because those are like the highs and the different energy levels of your set that make it interesting, right? But yeah, I think if I was going to give myself advice in 2016, it would just be to be more confident in my music, really. A big change for me, a big positive step since I formed my band and since I started recording music, was just to confidently assume a leadership role and and just kind of accept it, not doubt myself. Like I found a lot of the time in my first year and a half or so of doing this, I was surrounded by people who had more experience than me, or I thought had more experience than me, but maybe didn't, or who just seemed, I always, so especially with my band, because at the end of it, like we are a group, we are a band, but this is my business and this is my music, and I'm the one calling the shots. I'm the one doing the bookings. I'm the one, making all the calls, and I'm really owning that now. I can say that to you and say, this is my music business. This is my band. This is my project. And I command it. I probably couldn't have said that, a year and a half ago, maybe not even a year ago. But once I did start to own it and just kind of go, there are a couple of band rehearsals where I kind of started just pretending that I was better than I was and just, telling people to do stuff. But anyway, so that was a journey for me. I would have told myself in 2016, and I probably wouldn't have listened, to be honest. I'd have been like, just believe that, that what you're talking about. I'm very happy to listen and consider other people's opinions on what I should do with my career and with the arrangements of my music and just in all sorts of things. But, I consider it. And once in a while, somebody has a better idea than me. But I think a lot of the time when I have started to try to listen to somebody's opinion that was different than my original plan, I've always ended up wasting time and going back and doing it the way I wanted to in the first place. And so there's a really long explanation. I
can see that you don't want to seem you don't want to seem arrogant, and you don't want to, if you're a considerate person, you don't want to boss people around.
Yeah.
But it's hard, and it's hard to believe that you can be like that inspiring, fearless leader that people actually want to follow.
Yeah.
But I guess it is good to know that, people, especially people who get into playing an instrument like the bass guitar or the drums, where it is a support instrument, like their ideal situation is to be supporting someone who is sure of themselves, who, can confidently tell them what to do and consistent be like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's also like a really fine line between like arrogance and confidence, and it's like that's not your problem to figure that out. Like it's your music, so
exactly
you do with it what you want.
Yeah. And and not to say that I am not arrogant, right? I just, the thing is, the reality of my situation was, if the people are coming there to be told, like my band is coming in to be told what I want them to do, right? And even if I'm going into a session for somebody else or playing for somebody else, like I'm going in there expecting to be given direction, right? So it was really silly of me at first to be so shy about it, but yeah, no more.
That was some good listening. That would have been some good listening if we recorded any of it. That's where we would cut in a commercial, and then we'd say something like, "We're back."
This podcast is brought to you by Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers, Big Battles.
In theaters in 1999.
In theaters this summer, 1999. Yeah, so Vel from the Canadian Music Incubator looks like the bad guy from Small Soldiers, Big Battles, but he's not a bad guy. He's such a nice guy. He was very concerned that I would get electrocuted to death playing at the Doors, even though I love it. No, this is the winding down. This is the winding down portion where we segue naturally. You have a song called Naturally.
Yeah, I get
Boom.
that a lot. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Yeah, no, I groan internally anytime anyone uses the word naturally now.
Oh, do you?
Well, yeah, because they go, oh, yeah, like naturally it just happens. It happens.
Well, it's like they're your ideas too, right? So obviously, sometimes I'll like start spieling like about like the subject matter of one of my songs. Oh, I wrote a song about this, but it's like obviously I wrote a song about it because it means something to me, and I put a lot of thought into it, right? And now the topic of conversation is naturally steered towards this.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? Not share my deepest insights about the thing. So you asked what people usually do for the performance segment. There's no real set rules. I said that the record is 5 songs, I think, and I think that's held by 2 people. I can't really remember. I feel like Yana and Olivia both did 5. And will you be the 4th performer? Kelly kind of performed. Kelly Karaluk. He, if you're listening to this and you're a guitar player, that's kind of a different vibe where we kind of talked about the art of shredding, and Eric and I actually just dropped a lead guitarless instrumental on him, and he listened to it once and then wrote and then just improvised a solo over top of it at the end of that episode. So that was like his performance segment, which I thought was pretty cool. We need to get more people to improvise their performances on the show.
Yeah, over that song too.
Over that song, yeah. So now that you know what's up, what do you think you're gonna do?
Well, I have my fancy new keyboard here, which I mentioned has some interesting sounds on it that I've never had the chance to play with before. So that is going to be somewhat improvised.
Nice.
So there you go. I'm going to play the two new songs, Sunset and Too Many Love Songs, really stripped down, obviously, without my band. And then I'll probably do my solo version of Jones too, I guess. And then I'll hit your minimum quota of 3 songs. And
The minimum quota.
if I think of, we'll see. If I might.
Some
I can
people don't
always
even
throw in
play.
some, like, oh no,
Yeah.
that's the best part.
Right?
Warm me up for my show tonight, anyway.
Yeah. Come see Alex play at Zyla's tonight. Go back in time from when we release this and catch her on Saturday, June 22nd at Zyla's. Do you have anything coming up that you want to promote
Pitch.
that's going to come out?
So at this
That's
point,
going to happen 3 weeks from now?
Yeah, 3 weeks from now. Currently, I'm going to Ottawa this week, so that'll also be in the past while people are listening. But
Oh,
in
maybe
July-
Alex Buck will hear it and show up.
Who knows?
Oh, man.
What a good dude.
So for the summer, I have a bunch of dates actually in Kitchener, which is not terribly relevant for Hamilton listeners. But I will say look out on all the socials for EP release show stuff, which will be happening in September. And I think a lot of the summer will be spent kind of prepping for that. You can find all that information at alexwhorms.com. That's WHORMS. And you can also find that information on virtually anywhere, Instagram, Facebook. I am there at Alex Whorms, as well as Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to music. It's very easy to find. So please check it out and come see a show. That'd be awesome.
Booyakasha. Here are some tunes.
Here we go.
I walked a broken road down to a place we used to go. It's a different world this time around. The evening is still quite warm. The water is slow and shallow. Our footsteps are buried underneath the ground. Oh, sun, don't set on me. I took my pocket change, canceled my old investment, said I would find my way from here. The sunset and gold that night, I knew I owned the sky, and I felt my vision start to clear. Oh, sun, don't set on me. Oh, sun, I wanted to love someone. I wanted to love someone. just knows everything about me. I swear her eyes can read my mind. She doesn't tell, but I can tell she knows me, and she has the key to something that I could use. And I don't know myself all that well, so I worry for myself, and what she thinks of me would mean quite an awful lot to me. Tell me who I am, 'cause right now I'm just confused. Some people think badly about me. I wish she would tell me what she sees. Would you tell me that it's so? Tell me that it's so and I'm not the one you want. Would you tell me that it's over? I've been so caught up in criticizing myself and measuring against everyone else, and now I'm immersed in doubt, and I'm standing frozen at center stage. I'm looking out for someone to validate my hope. Some people think badly about me, but if they will deny me this one thing, would you tell me that it's so? Tell me that it's so and I'm not the one you want. Would you tell me that it's over, and I promise I will stop and give up on this now. Do I set my sights just a little too high when I look at you? Is this a mirror on the wall that I'm talking to? If John said to me, you're getting older now, it's time to forget that dream. Forget that dream. Forget that dream.
And that was that. What else did we talk about on the show? We talked about naturally, so naturally, I can go ahead and do that one too. What is this kind of like? So do people normally introduce their stuff, or do they just kind of play and not say anything? Just do whatever?
Usually I just cut it down to just song
Sure.
at the end, but if there is anything particularly profound or funny.
That's fine. I don't need to talk about the breakup that I went through at McMaster. That's fine. That's what normally precedes the song. So one day. No. Normally. Yeah. Here's naturally.
Breaking up after all the great things we've done. You and I giving up after all the sweet things we felt. And I don't want to spend these years heartbroken. I don't want to feel hurt anymore. I know you don't love me, so why don't you leave? And things will get better naturally. I said I know you don't love me. Go get up and leave, and things will get know you don't love me. Don't play pretend. Don't try to tell me this isn't the end. I know you don't love me, and I know when you leave, things will get better naturally. Things will get better naturally. Oh, things will get better naturally.
So this is a song that I don't feel is quite finished yet, but I've been monkeying around with it in terms of how to play it and what to play or whatever. It's called What You Want. Yeah.
You're always talking way loud, like you know what life's all about, and I don't have a clue. I wish you'd stop looking down on me. You should know I work hard for my money, just like you. It'd be so easy if you and I would agree on just one thing. Oh, you can do what you want, say what you want, be anyone or be free. Oh, don't you hurt anyone, don't take that out on me. Oh, you can do what you want, say what you want, be anyone or be free. Oh, don't you hurt anyone, don't take that out on me. I'm up at the crack of dawn, I'm there, tap on that 6 o'clock train. I'm through the doors at 5 to 8, and always on my case. Oh, in what world is 5 early, 15 minutes late? Well, there's no escape. It'd be so easy if you and I would agree on just one thing. Oh, you can do what you want, say what you want, be anyone, be free. Oh, don't you hurt anyone, don't take that out on me. Oh, you can do what you want, say what you want, be anyone, be free. Oh, don't you hurt anyone, don't take that out on me. Oh, well, I bet you never made a mistake. God forbid that I should catch a break. You don't know me, and I don't deserve the shade you show me. When I saw you just the other day, mouthing off while the boss is away, it didn't shock me, 'cause I know you only ever see your way. Oh, you do what you want, say what you want, be anyone or be free. Oh, don't you hurt anyone, don't take that out on me. Oh, you can do what you want, say what you want, be anyone or be free. Oh, don't you hurt anyone, don't take that out on me. Oh, don't take that out on me.
Thanks.
Too much pop on the radio and the TV stations take the new songs and shut them out. And we were dialed into stupid high expectations of everyday life and everyday love. When when I called into question the lengths we go to fit in. I couldn't see the end. I had written 11 ballads for my boyfriend, and I picked up my pen. Oh, I've written too many love songs in the face of my fears since I've been with you. Why do I feel like a winner in someone else's shoes? I've written too many love songs. I wish they were true. There was pop on the patio, and there was a case of beer, and we keep on pushing that envelope. And I know it's irresponsible to drink for attention, but it's either lose out or lose myself. And I counted the coasters, the kisses to my collar, feeling angry and confused. 'Cause how I want not to want to, I hate the mainstream, the media. I realize that I've been used, and I've written too many love songs in the face of my fears since I've been with you. Why do I feel like a winner in someone else's shoes? I've written too many love songs. I wish they were true. They were true. Oh, I've written too many love songs. Too many love songs. I wish they were true. And that's the end of our show today. Thank you, Michael AM Radio, for having me. My name's Alex Whorms. Yeah.